So if my current, just, blue here, my current directory is the media directory. The valid relative path would be books/aragon.pub. And I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier so that I can have it on the video, is that the issue, what you want to always remember, 2 questions that you want to be able to answer, if you're looking at the answer to determine whether it's correct, is where is it going to start looking and what is it going to start looking for? It's always going to start looking in your current location, and it's going to look for the item that appears at the leftmost end of the path, okay? And if it can't find that item or that file or folder, depending on what it is, then obviously you would get some type of an error message. Question?
If, say you wanted to look up revolution, you would do a revolution as a path. Is it going to look at football also? Is it going to go straight
No,
to soccer?
football and soccer are in the same, they're at the same hierarchy of the file system. So they wouldn't, if I wanted to reference revolution, let's say that my default directory is the root of the Q drive. My default directory is the root of the Q drive. That's the root of the Q drive. My default directory is the root of the Q drive, and I want you to reference revolution.tm, but I want you to reference it in a relative path. And that's kind of important, guys. If I ask a question and I say answer this using a relative path or answer it using an absolute path, then I want you to use the type of path that I've specified. If I say neither, then I don't care what you use. Okay? First couple of chapters, I really kind of enforce being able to write both, and then at some point I say use what you're comfortable with. Okay? In this particular example, if I said you're at the root of the Q drive and I want you to write the relative path to the revolution.tm file, what could be a valid answer to that?
It would be the absolute anyway. The relative path is sports / soccer / revolution.
I know I spelled sports wrong. Okay. Sports / soccer / revolution.tm. Okay? Is that relative? Okay. Where is it going to start looking? Where is it going to start looking? In the Q, the root of the Q drive. It's going to look for sports and then soccer and revolution. Okay?
Can you put a slash before sports?
Is that a relative path? Is it a relative or absolute path?
That's an absolute path.
What has to be true for it to be an absolute path? Right, remember, always, okay? Always drive letter colon and backslash for absolute. So this is a perfectly valid relative path. And because, and that's when it's a difference here, guys, because I'm at the root of the drive, okay, including or excluding a backslash for this relative path doesn't matter, because they're both going to be valid relative paths to the specified file. Okay? If down here though, it's a whole different animal. If I put a backslash here, okay, that's not optional. Okay, that's not an option, because now it's going to look for football at the root of the drive and not in my current location. Okay? Okay. Let's look at a couple more, but I think I'm going to use the other image, which is on the back side of your paper. Okay, so if I have here, again, we'll go with a default directory. Let's say that my default directory is drama. And I want you to write the relative path to the comedy directory. Well, I'm not asking for a command, okay? Just the path. Just the path.
That's what I was gonna say.
Dot, dot. What does dot, dot do?
Brings you to the parent directory.
Brings you to the parent directory. Okay? Oh, references, because we're not moving here. Okay? So reference is the parent directory. The dot, dot in this case says reference the parent directory, which is movies, then look for something called comedy. So when I reference the parent directory called movies, it can find a folder called comedy, okay? So this references that works, okay? Any other way I could write a relative path here?
Those are 2 periods, right?
Those are 2 periods.
There's a longer way to do it, but there'd be no point.
You could always use backslash in the full rest of that.
I just wanna point something out to you guys, okay? That's a valid relative path to that folder, right? Isn't it? Okay? So, if I give you a question, if I find that every time you give me an answer, you're providing a relative path, but you're always starting back at the root, I'm gonna question your understanding of navigating with the dot keys. Okay, the dot key sequence is really a quick way to navigate in an area of the file system. I'm up here. I don't want to go all the way back to the root to move back into the comedy directory. I don't want to have to reference anything back at the root. I want to be able to reference something in a more efficient way. And the dot, 2 dots with a backslash. Well, the backslash would only be needed if there's a directory name after it. Okay, for example, if I did dir dot, I don't need a backslash. Okay, that says give me a directory listing of the parent directory, not my current directory, of the parent directory. Okay, so when we look at this, sports is a parent to football and soccer. Okay, football is a parent to American and National. Rock is a parent to Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin. Music is a parent to classical Bach and Beethoven. Okay, and Bach and Beethoven are, this probably isn't a really official term, but it's what I refer to as, music is a grandparent to Bach and Beethoven. Okay, so if I'm referencing the parent directory, I can reference it with 2 dots. If I want to reference the grandparent directory, okay, earlier versions of Windows would allow me to reference it with 3 dots. Okay, newer versions of Windows do not support 3 dots. Okay?
The newer ones do not.
The newer ones do not, and I find it very interesting that I have the same handout on my class website. I've been teaching this class, as I said in the past, for as many years as some of you are old. Okay? And my online class, a bunch of people handed in the Chapter 2 homework assignment over the weekend, and every one of them used 3 dots. And one of the assignments wasn't actually to type the command, it was sort of, fix the command so that it would work, but not actually have to type it as a written assignment. And like after the 3rd person used 3 dots, I said, what do I have out on the website that's causing? And I went out on the website and I found my handout for absolute and relative path actually did reference 3 dots. So I modified that over the weekend. It's not out there anymore. I did fix that, but what blew my mind was, okay, this handout has been out there for 5 years. So does this tell me no one else used it? Okay, because this is the first time someone's actually 3 in a row. I was like, okay, something's wrong. The point is that the 3 dots, if I were in, let's say, let me go out to the command prompt and demonstrate, at least either with the CD or with the DIR, the use of the dots before we go back and do some more sample DIR or, sample absolute and relative. So if I'm sitting, I'm going to move out to the, actually I'm going to move to the match 32 directory. Okay, so I just used a relative path, right, to move to the match 32 directory. And if I did dir dot, okay, it's going to show me the directory of the, the parent directory. Okay, I'm in match 32, and it just gave me a directory of games. But I'm still in the match 32 directory. Okay, so I displayed a directory listing of that directory, but I'm still in the current directory. If I go out to, well, I guess the only one I could use for this example is level 1, 2, and 3. If I did dir dot, well, let's see what happens with the dir command. I honestly usually demonstrate it. Yeah, found, not found. If I do cd dot, moves me up 1 directory. If I do cd level 3, it moves me back. If I type cd dot, it does absolutely nothing. Okay? In Windows 98, that would have moved you up 2 directories. 4 dots would have moved you up 3 directories. 5 dots would have moved you up 4 directories. Okay? So you could just continue, just keep dotting, but you can still reference a parent, but in Windows. Okay, so now I have 6 directories, okay? Out here at the level 6 directory, okay? If I wanted to move to the level 4 directory, I could type cd dot dot backslash dot dot. So I always need 2 dots to move up a level, and if there's more than one sequence of dots, I have to separate it with a backslash, okay? So what I could do with cd dot 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 in Windows 98, in Windows 2000 and above, I need dot dot backslash dot dot. And again, if I wanted to go up another folder, another backslash dot dot, I only need to follow the last sequence of dots with a backslash if I'm typing something after it, a folder name or a file name, you probably wouldn't put a file name there. Okay, so that would move me to the level 4 directory. Okay, so when I'm looking at this example here, and I want to reference a folder in another location, I can use the dot dot key sequence. If I'm sitting here in the national folder, well, here's a good example, okay? I'm in the national folder, oops. Whatever, okay, I'm crossing it out instead of underlining it. If I'm in the national folder and I want to reference the soccer folder, and I want to reference it using a relative path, what would be a valid relative path to the soccer folder?
Dot dot backslash dot dot backslash soccer.
I was really hoping someone would say this. Nope. Yeah, I guess I was thinking that it was closer to the root. But either way, okay, that works, okay? But I also could have specified backslash sports backslash soccer. I think the point that I'm trying to make is sometimes I see students use dot dot backslash dot dot backslash dot dot backslash dot dot backslash, and they're all the way back to the root before they start moving forward again. Okay, that's pointless. Okay, if I am doing this example, this is going to put me in either case. This is a valid relative path to the soccer folder. Everyone okay with this?
Why would you use 2 sets of dot dots though if you're only moving up?
I'm in national. I want to move up football. Oh, what did I say I wanted to move?
You want to move to soccer.
You have to move up to football, move up to sports.
So this is going to move up to football, the first set of dots. The second is going to move up to sports, and then it's going to look for soccer in there. Okay? And then here it's the backslash sports, and then so let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, the number of the amount of typing is not that much different. Okay? But if I had